Well, it was a big response from Arsenal today. It had to be. And you've had a look, Danny, at why they got so much joy down that right-hand side. Was it down to them or the way Spurs set up?
Well, it's fair to say Spurs were pretty poor at times, but Arsenal were outstanding. And this partnership on the right-hand side that they haven't had in recent weeks of Saka in his most comfortable position and Timber behind, when at its best, is one of the best in Europe. And Tottenham could not cope with them today, especially in the first half, time and time again. Now, I know this team's working on some new things with the manager, but some of it's basic. There's Timber. Simon's playing as a 10. Finds himself in a left-back position, trying to double up. Doesn't really want to be there. 2v1, Jed Spence, the wing-back. Little early warning for Tottenham. And we know how good Timber is. He makes all sort of runs. He's a good player. Spence, again, caught in between. Saka's behind him this time. Sarr has left the central midfield area to come over and try and help. Rather, they don't know who's doing what. You don't want to be left one-on-one with Saka in the left-back position when you're a midfielder. You know, he should do better, but there's the first goal. And they didn't fix this problem. It just went on and on and on as the game, got more open. This one, Saka inside Spence and Van der Ven. 3 centre-backs. Van der Ven's the left one. Spence is the wing-back. You can see Saka pointing where he wants it. Jed Spence is asking Van der Ven. The communication's poor from Tottenham. Great ball and, again, nearly score a goal. Opening them up too often. Now, Jed Spence here, I don't know whether he's been told to go and press or what the messaging is, but if he just drops in and marks Saka, leaves Sarr to close Timber down, you don't get this situation because, as I said, when you're a central midfielder and you find yourself in full-back positions, you get a bit lost. And then Spence switches off. Timber gets in again because he's non-stop. He loves making runs in behind. And Trossard's unlucky little deflection takes it past the post. More of the same second half. I actually felt for Jed Spence as the game went on. He didn't know what to do, whether to drop off or press. The 2v1 situation again, a little knockdown from Rice and a bit of last-ditch defending to stop Eze getting a shot in. And this, if you leave Timber free, the quality he's got, I mean, this is a wonderful pass. Yeah, there's still a bit to do from Gyökeres, but he's just an outstanding player, and they really struggled to stop that threat today. Didn't really know who to go, when to go. Poor communication, poor plan, I don't know. And Saka topped off a brilliant performance, nearly with a goal, ends up Eze getting the goal. But that position he kept taking inside the inside right position, no one really sure who to get him. And his stats were phenomenal today. I mean, there's been a few question marks about him recently. What do they say? Form is temporary, class is permanent. He's a class operator, he really is. And I think playing him on that right side, leaving him to get on with it, with Timber supporting him, is where we'll see him the rest of the season, because I know he played as a 10 the other day. There was a real energy and urgency, wasn't there? And the game, as you pointed out there, became quite open quite quickly. But there's one performance in particular you want to have a look at, Shay. Yeah, and Steve Wilson asked Victor Gyökeres if that was his best game. Steve clearly thought it was. Victor did, and you third it.
Yeah, I'll third it, Gavi, yeah. No, I really think it was a special game for him. You know, there's so much talk before he joined the club. They need an out-and-out striker. And I think Gyökeres today really said to the Arsenal fans and maybe to the Premier League, I've arrived. It was one of them kind of performances. He did everything you want from a centre forward. He really did. You see here, peeling on the back of Paulinho today was the right side centre half, and of course Dragiston as well. You know, occupying the middle of the goal. He wins a header, can go anywhere, of course. But if you just keep an eye on him, his movement is what we say a natural centre forward. He frees up space for elsewhere. You see here, Paulinho jumps in, creates the space down the channel, the left channel, and that's where he's done a lot of his good work. This was his first half, of course, very close to getting on the score sheet. We know Arsenal, brilliant from set plays. He's a physical threat in the air as well. This time Saliba should really score with that knockback from Gyökeres. And again, I know Danny mentioned the goal there before, but look at his movement here. His first touch makes it. He doesn't even look up to where the goal is. It's a phenomenal strike. Vicario, absolutely no chance. And even here, later on in the game, he's down the side where you want him, your centre forward, keeping high up the pitch. You're away from home in a North London derby. It's a big game. And this is what I love as well. You know, Tottenham put a high press on them. You want your centre forward down that side, chasing lost causes sometimes at times. And you see Arteta, he's happy with his centre forward. And this is, the icing on the cake in the injury time. He's so strong, he's so powerful. Can he finish it under pressure from Gray? Too right he can. And I think that was his for me, his best performance, and a perfect time as well to get it on the run into the end of the season.
He's scored more goals in all competitions in 2026 than any other Premier League player, so he really is hitting his stride, isn't he? At the right time for Arsenal as well. I'm sure they'll be delighted with his form in 26. Now, you want to have another look at the disallowed goal for Spurs, and it's important to say it was the context of when it occurred in the game that you think is really important.
I mean, Arsenal fans might want to switch off now because they won 4-1, but I'm just getting to a point whereas this could have been 2-2 in the game, and the only reason I wanted to look at it is because the last two games, Brentford away for Arsenal, obviously Wolves that they were, midweek there, they had a really poor giveaway leads in the game, and I wanted to look at this is to bring it back to 2-2, and you imagine Gabby in a North London derby as well, how much the stadium would erupt if this had been allowed. I just think it's soft. I mean, Peter Banks gives, you see Gabriel, you see Motd, there's a coming together, but this is the Premier League. We talk about it every single week. It's a physical sport. There is coming together. If I'm with Danny, I'm going to barge him, I'm going to bump him, and the way Gabriel's gone down, I mean, I don't know what they say, I don't want to be too strong here, but the BAFTAs are up the road, and look at his legs up in the air. I mean, it's crazy. And I think Peter Banks could have let that go, or even at least spoke to VAR. And the reason we say it, because there's another couple of examples. This is early in the season. You look at Euro on Bassi here. This goal was allowed.
This was in August.
Yeah, this is in August, Gabby, and this goal was allowed. There's a push on the back there. The refs give it on the pitch. It's gone to VAR. They've said it's a goal as well, and there's much more of a push there, I think, than today's push, for example. I think that's a stronger push, and Tottenham fans will really be angry at this stage now, because this is Ekitike on Romero early in the season. Watch this. See, I don't think this is a foul here in Ekitike's defence. He's got up early. It's a physical game, but that goal stands. Today's goal doesn't stand, and maybe I'm clutching a bit because Danny rightly says Arsenal were a much better team today, but getting back to 2-2,
I think it's the psychology.
It's the psychology.
If it's 2-2
in the
it's
title
very
race.
Different, isn't it?
Yeah. How do the Arsenal fans react?
I agree with you. I think it's something you want consistency.
Yeah.
The reality is that if you love football and you enjoy watching it, you don't expect 6'4" centre halves to be falling over. But to be fair to Gabriel, he knows generally that if you get a touch in the back and you go over, you're going to get it. So it's a kind of chicken and egg thing. Whereas the referees have got to be stronger. But the two examples you showed. More or less exactly the same. So they have a reason to feel disappointed today, I think, Tottenham.
With a big win against their neighbours Tottenham. There was a lot of jeopardy around it, Gary, to start with. We know all the noise. Noise has been a pertinent word this week after what happened at Wolves. How did Arsenal deal with it?
Really well in the end. I think at half-time they maybe look back at that first half and think, how are we in this position? 1-1. We're so dominant in the game. Tottenham had only had one touch in their box, and just little things. There was a Hincapié little mistake. There was a little Gabriel and Saliba one, and I think Timber made one with a little pass into midfield. And then Declan Rice goes and makes the ultimate one, which gives the goal away. And you're thinking, you're causing your own problems here, and where's this coming from? Because these are the ones that have been the best defence in the league, the most reliable characters. They've been brilliant all season. David Raya makes the mistake on Wednesday night, so you're starting to think, is it becoming contagious, these little errors that are going to cost a team who are dominant in football matches? But if you do make individual errors in moments, then you're still going to cause yourself a problem. But in the end, it was really important what happened today, because look, it's too early really for that real title pressure. We're not quite in the home straight. It's 10 games to go, so there's no doubt games are eroding fast. But I think, to be fair, this is going to get really hot when it gets into April, as we know. But you're now getting to a point where games really do count, and when you drop points, and Arsenal have been on a difficult run, so you're looking at them today and thinking, right, okay, we signalled out, or I did, David Raya before the game, because I think he's been absolutely incredible. I think everybody thinks he's been incredible. What a goalkeeper he's been this season and for the last couple of seasons for Arsenal. But you're thinking, he's had Thursday and Friday to think long and hard and listen to that noise about what happened on Wednesday night. And what is he going to do in this game? Is he just going to be a little bit more tentative? Is he going to be a little bit more wobbly, a little bit more shaky? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You look at his body language, the way in which he had authority, the way in which he came out and dominated his area and caught every single cross that came in, even ones that you thought he didn't really have to come for that one. We wouldn't have been having a go at him if he didn't do, but he came for ones that were brave. So I think it was really important for him today To make sure he gets back to his sort of what would be mistake-free best. And in the end, he makes something really special there, doesn't he, where he sort of reaches back. I mean, we sometimes slow these sort of what would be replays down, which is the right thing to do so everyone can see it at home, but it doesn't do it justice of the reactions of how, we know how quick goalkeepers are off the mark. They're like lightning, they really are. I think I might have said this story before, but the goalkeepers were always the quickest over 5 yards when we did the sprint test, because just the ability to get there quickly and just off the mark, and you could see that with brilliant with Raya at that end of the pitch, and then at the other end of the pitch. I think it was so important what Gyökeres did today. I like him as a centre forward in the sense that I like a centre forward who's imperfect, who's a bit rugged, who's a bit of a handful. I'd hate to play against him. Sticks his body in, sticks his backside in, doesn't necessarily do everything in the sort of more smooth or perfect way. And there's times this season where you thought, is he a hit or is he a miss? Is he good or is he average? You're almost from week to week balancing a little bit about what this guy is. But if you could actually encapsulate and package up a performance of what you'd want from him, you got it out there today again in a really big game. I thought that from the very first few minutes, he was running down the side. Sometimes he gets involved a little bit too much in battles and scraps and muscling with centre halves, but he made movements down the side. He was a little bit more elusive. I thought that he held it up and was quite clever at times. He was a nuisance. He did run the channels. He always works hard. I actually thought he looked leaner and fitter, and I don't know how that happens because obviously we've seen him a lot in the last few weeks, but I just thought he just looked a little bit more like he had legs and like he had a bit more power, rather than him looking a little bit sort of what would be heavy and ungainly and sort of it looking like he's running in treacle. You know what I mean? Sometimes when you watch him you think. And then today I thought he was really good, and then he gets his goals. The first one's a really good goal. Eze, I think, being up there alongside him, taking Dragerson away and taking a centre forward just means that he gets a yard and he finishes. He misses his couple of chances in the first half, but he finishes in that second half, and then he gets his what would be almost like a glory moment at the end where he can sort of go up there and celebrate to your heart's content. The second one I said, don't celebrate too much. There's a job to do. Switch on. Declan Rice did that after the first goal, didn't he? If you remember, he's going to his teammates, switch on. That's definitely a switch on moment at 2-1. We're not making a mistake here. This is where we go and see it home, and Arsenal have really done that today. But it was a good day for David Raya, who's been brilliant all season. Gyökeres, who's not been brilliant all season, I thought it was his best moment of the season. Not just because he scored 2 in a game against the biggest rivals and had a wonderful celebration over there with the Arsenal fans, but because his general performance from start to finish is what you would expect from him. He needs to kick on from that because he set himself a level there today.
I wonder, this is a slightly mischievous question, I wonder whether it was nice for Arsenal to play here. You know, there was a lot of talk about Tottenham feeding on Arsenal's nerves, but obviously Arsenal's kind of tense performances, one or two of them have been in front of their own supporters who are feeling the history of these 22 years without the title and so on. And you didn't get the same sense of panic here at all, did you? Even when Tottenham did equalise?
No, I don't think you heard it, but the stadium announcer before the game, he did a massive impassioned speech and address to the crowd probably about 5 minutes before kickoff, where he said they're worried, they're nervous, you know what I mean, they don't want this type thing. And that was the sort of feeling in this ground. I mean, Tottenham fans, the ones I spoke to before the game, I always, when I'm coming up in the lift, say, what do you think today? Just to get and they said, I think we'll get beat, you know what I mean? So I think the reality was there that they thought they could get beat, but the bit of hope that I think they had was probably Wolves, and they were probably thinking, if we can make them nervous, if they show a little bit of anxiety through the fact they're in a title race, and there's been a lot of talk about wobbling in the last few days, then they could potentially do something in this match. But it didn't emerge, and I think playing here, look, they got a grip of the game early, to be fair to them. By the way, what about the nonsense with the sound issues with the referees? That needs to stop, by the way. I don't know if someone listens from, PGMOL or Premier League, but that is absolutely rubbish, that we've got to stop a game. For how long today? 11 minutes, 12 minutes maybe? 5-6 in the first half, and then before half-time.
Teta said there is still a long way to go for Arsenal, not just in the Premier League, but on all four fronts. There are a lot of games left to go, but we are now officially at the stage of the season where we can get all the remaining fixtures on one page for both Arsenal and for Manchester City. 10 games left for Arsenal, 11 games left for Manchester City. They play each other, of course, in April, on April the 18th. That is going to be a crucial game, as we always thought it might be in terms of the title race. But this next game for Arsenal now, the game against Chelsea, That's the last game, bar the City one, that they have from a team that's inside the current top 6 at the moment. So it's always the next game that's the most important, obviously, but it feels like that could be a really significant one for them.
I think, yeah, look, they know where they stand, they know their job, what to do. I think what's really important, looking at those fixtures, they can win them all, they really can. But what's not in that fixture is the cup final. And that's the way I feel like we'll set where Arsenal are going to do this year, and they're going to determine what's going to happen. It's a big match, of course, but look, having City
and
chasing...
they could draw each other in the Champions League as well.
There you go. So look, it's a narrative starting to happen, isn't there? But look, I just feel they know the job. They know that Man City are going to be there. There's a different feel about, Man City this year, but there's also now a different feel about Arsenal because they've got certain players that haven't experienced what recent squads have experienced, but now they've just provided something different. The likes of Gyökeres and Eze today, they haven't been in this situation before. They kind of, it's their first day at the office, really, in some sense. So look, I think they're excited to be in this race because at times they might not have been expected to be at this club. So look, I think they're showing some great signs and they know they can be the difference. And I think that itself is just going to bring more energy in the whole squad. I really do.
If Arsenal win all of their remaining fixtures, as Theo says they're capable of doing, they will be champions come the end of the season. The same is also true for Manchester City.
Absolutely. So to a certain extent, it's in their hands. And as we all know, Pep is the bogeyman. He don't want him chasing.
But Arsenal get the draw in that fixture on April.
Kel, I mean, I looked at those fixtures. I've done it every year since I've been working on Sky. It's very hard to predict that anything can happen. I do agree with Theo.
Now we've got them all on one page. You're going to do that every week between now and the end of the season.
There's going to be so many twists and turns. I fancied Arsenal this year. I do feel it's their season. And City have really surprised me. And they've been fantastic. Even Nico O'Reilly yesterday with those important goals. And they had to suffer yesterday. It was a huge 3 points for them. And obviously that Arsenal have to go to City, and we've seen how difficult that can be in the past. So anything can still happen, but I'm still going to stick with Arsenal.
And at this stage of the season, with the cup final a month today, when do we start talking about a potential quadruple for Arsenal?
I think we are now, aren't we? I think we are now. I think it's... Why would you not believe in that? You look at where they stand in the cup final, top of the Champions League, of course, top of the Premier League. Why can't they? I feel... It's a great energy that it will provide into the squad, and I think it's great for the fans and the fans group to really believe that. And I think with that energy, it just helps the team. They really it can enhance it.
We said at the start of the show. You said it, Theo. What a position to be in, though. And this week they've been accused of being bottlers and not, having the character to handle it. I mean, they've got the character. They showed it today. They've come into a difficult environment after a tough week, and I thought they were absolutely fabulous.
Hello, Igor. Nice to see you. Hello. Obviously, you've won the first games in your last 5 jobs. Does the fact you didn't win this one say more about the problems you've got at Tottenham or the quality of Arsenal?
Both things. Big gap in psychophysic moment between two teams. It was too much Arsenal for us in this moment with the problems we have. Also, nice to understand where we are, because you prepare in the best possible way, then there is a game to show you reality. So it's nice from one point of view to each of us understand and come, as I said, as a player there, stay quiet and come on Tuesday and restart after this 3-4 training, restart to work harder than we did until now, to change all habits, to change the state of mind in which now is a team, okay? And it's the only way it's work.
Igor, what did you make of your team's defending in particular today? You seemed throughout the game to be talking to your back line, trying to get them up the pitch.
No, too much problems in this moment to that this level of team will not punish you. Because you wanted to go to press high, but to press high from back, you need to jump. So if you are late and you don't take the ball, run again there, okay? Also with the ball. So we prepare also to go to press high, but we didn't take the ball. So we need more time to be in a physical moment, in physical situation that we can go strong and take the ball. Now we are not in that moment. Also, even with the ball, lack of confidence is very evident of the team. So we prepared to do the things, but there is an opponent, there is a reality today. So I'm very sad, I'm very angry, I'm everything. But in one way, it's also good to understand where is our goal. Where is the goal of this club? Where is the goal of this team? Where is the goal of this coach and of this player and all stuff? To become serious, not just group of 20 players, you know. And the medicine is you look in the mirror, each of us looking in the mirror, and really try and really start to change the habits, working hard. That's the only way.
Igor, what did you say to the players after that? Because obviously it's a damaging defeat against a big rival, but you know.
I saw this position to do. I saw the passion. I saw the will. So it's. I was not angry because they wanted to do, but they were not able to do in this moment the things. They wanted to do all what we prepared. So I said that's good, but we need to understand in which moment we are now, because we are not able to do. Why we are not able to do, that's the question why we resolve. And I speak from day first in the club. We come here to resolve the problems. So you believe that in 3-4 trainings you will do your best, but then the start game you don't know what will happen, because it's like this. But as I said,